Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm
Taking a photo of
Tonight, yeah, you're in the right place. But wait a minute, there's no tables, there's no chairs, there's no overheads, there's no PowerPoint. Yeah, that's true. We're going to do things a little differently tonight. I think it's going to be a better way of learning than if I just bore you with, slides or circles on a whiteboard, okay? So, we're here to talk today about the racing rules of sailing. This is it right here. But we're actually not even going to look at this book at all. We're not going to drone over we're not going to read it out or try to figure out what this paragraph meant or what this clause after that semicolon meant. We're going to try to understand the principles behind this. But here's the plug. This is available from Nancy for $22. She's from Regalia. If you're curious. So
half price, shouldn't we?
we're here to talk about. This is the book that governs the conduct of our sport in a lot of different things about how to run races and how to do lots of different things. But part 2 is the important part, and that's called When Boats Meet. So I want you to meet each other. Take a couple minutes, shake hands, say hi. Everyone
How are you?
introduce each other. Say hi.
You know Chris?
Yeah, no, well, it's fine. I'll plug in.
Okay. All right. So it's going to be really interactive. All right. That's the first part of interaction. You get to know each other. I want everyone to walk around. Go ahead. Just start walking.
Hey,
So I guess we're kind of thinking about the steps here, and we've got maybe a little more people than I expected. So if some of you want to just kind of hang back, that's fine. But anyway, just keep on walking around, and try not to just kind of go in a like in a counterclockwise flow. I don't want technical society here. I want you to mix it up a bit. Come on, James, we've got a cocktail party. Come on, not a cocktail party. Moving. Okay, let's stop for a sec. Anyone bumped into anyone? Did you run in here? Okay, so what's the point of the rules of sailing? It's to avoid collisions. Thank you very much. So I want you to say, as you walk around, keep on walking. 14. 14. 14. 14. 14. 14. 14. Guys, I need to talk, and no one else. You need to keep it down a little bit. So 14 is the rule that says you must avoid collisions. I think everyone's got that drilled into their heads. All night tonight we're just going to be drilling these numbers into our heads, so we memorize them. I think it's going to be a better way to memorize the rules, to understand the point behind them, and just repeat that number over and over again, right? 14, 14. So that's pretty easy. I think we all got that. We walk all day long around sidewalks and in hallways, and we never bump into each other, right? Because we've all kind of got sort of a common courtesy not to, as we're walking by, we just kind of like make eye contact or a little bit of body language, and we just kind of make sure that we both communicate a little bit, and we go this way, Or maybe if I'm about to bump into you, or if you're walking that way, I just kind of slow up a little bit, and, we do this all the time on street corners, right? Sailing, boats are going kind of at a constant speed, mostly, so, the idea of doing a little stutter step and letting someone pass isn't as practical. So if we're all now walking at a constant speed, we got to be even a little more careful, don't we, about avoiding collisions, because we can't if we're not allowed to roll up really quickly, then we got to even plot out our next move a little more carefully. Keep walking. Say 14, 14. All right. So how close can you get to them without bumping into them? You get pretty close. Remember that? I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. Remember when you were in the back seat with your sister? I'm not touching you. I'm not, and I'm not actually. But if Darren snitches, then I'm in trouble, right? Mom. Okay. So you get pretty damn close in sailing without touching someone, right? But that other person has to be able to, like flinch or do whatever they want. And if there is contact, you're in trouble, and you're gonna speak to your father when you get home. All right. So let's see. Next point. I'm just gonna have to refer to my notes here a little bit. All right. Now I want you guys to, as you're walking around, I want you to every once in a while take a pretty abrupt change in direction like this. I know, we're maybe have to spin the crowd out a bit. Maybe it's something. But go ahead. Just start. Walk very slowly and deliberately, but every once in a while I want you to do a little jog like this. Oh, there's the problem right there, right? Make it slow enough. Okay. Stop for a sec. Every time you make that little jog, I want you to say once. You still should be saying 4. You don't have to say 14 out loud anymore. You can just say it to yourself softly. Maybe if someone gets really close, you could say 14 a little more, like not sort of roche. But as you make a change in direction, I want you to say once 16. Okay, everyone go 16. 16. Just as you make that dog leg, right? That Okay, stop for a second. So what is 16? 16 says that every time you change direction, you have to kind of look around and make sure that you're not going to adversely affect someone, right? So 16 is not a warning to other people to say, look out, I'm changing directions. It's a reminder to yourself that you have to be aware of what your next move is going to do to other people around you. And you've got to give them a chance to avoid you. Okay, go. 16 and 14. Remember those two numbers.
We're going to get it all during in the water.
Stop. Go back and have your attention here. So, 16 says that the moment you change direction, you must initially give other people around you a chance to react to that change in the situation, right? So, how much time do we need to react to things? Not very long at all, right?
You went like on the 16 over here.
I'm going to give back to you.
Right, so we're not, we're not house flies. This is not the fly, but we're not three-toed sloths either. Like our brains, through millions of years of evolution, have pretty much been able to adopt, react to new situations and figure out what our new, anti-collision course would be, right? So, right. Oh, by the way, so we're just playing a little game here, right? This isn't really racing, it isn't sailing, it isn't even the racing rules, but we're kind of making a pretend version of sailing, right? To kind of help us learn the rules a bit. So what are the two rules we've learned so far? 14. Someone tell me what 14 stands for? 16, what does it stand for? Okay, what is one person? Darren.
Look around and make sure you're clear before you change direction.
Yes, give other people a chance to react to the new change. All right, so now I'm going to introduce something new, which is getting closer to racing. I'm going to divide the room. Well, so wait a minute. Hang on, let me back up. as we walk around on sidewalks and in cafes and things, there isn't any idea of right of way and who's got rights over someone else. But in say driving, we're all familiar with the idea of right of way, because as we're driving, we're coming into conflict with other drivers. I want to go through the intersection this way. This person wants to go through the intersection that way. We both can't do it at the same time. So some people have to wait and other people get to go. That's the concept of right of way. We know that there's a concept of right of way in marine navigation and cruising and also in racing. So I'm going to split the room right down here, and everyone on this side, I'm going to elevate to this new kind of class or status of being right of way. Okay, they're the upper class, and you guys are the lower class. I apologize, but so yeah. These people over here, they're royalty. They get to do whatever they want. They can walk around just looking at the ceiling. They don't have to really care about you guys at all. To help identify them, they're going to all raise their right hands like this. Raise the right hand. So they can walk wherever they want, and everyone over here has to get out of their way. Go. Mix it up. Remember, you're still Stop. So John right away was quick. He took my next point, which is Scott, I beg your pardon. Scott said, what happens if I run into another person of my class? So how do we decide? Well, I'm just going to go back to the kind of common courtesy that all royalty had with our royalty and all of the hoi polloi had with each other, much like we did before, where we're just on street corners and we just try to bump into each other, right? So, okay, keep going.
14.
I think we just spin this out a little bit, don't we? Okay, everyone stop. I think we're just too crowded, so I'm going to split the room right here. And if this half can just kind of go around the edges of the room and just observe a little bit, and we'll switch. I'll do the rest. Sorry, I think it was just we need some more elbow room. We're a victim of broken success. Who are all the people who had their right hands up a moment ago? Okay, so it's a nice even mix. So just keep circulating around. If you can just spread all around the perimeter of the room, that'd be great. Sorry about this. I think we just had 15 or so more people. What's that?
And if you're smaller than the big guy, you'll pay even more.
Okay, so stop for a minute. So I got to backtrack. I kind of fibbed a little bit. Rule 16 is a rule that actually only the people with their hands up have to observe. Okay, in racing, it's that if you have the right of way and you change directions, you have to let the people who are the lower class react in time. And back to Scott's point, actually, this game is a little bit of a fiction. We've divided the group into two sets, those with right of way and those who must get out of the way. In sailing, actually, right of way is a pairwise relationship between any two boats, right? It's not between two different sets of people. So actually in the racing rules of sailing, there is always unambiguously between any two pair of people, whether it's two people of the royal class or of the lower class, or any mixture of the two, one of them will always have the right of way and another one won't, okay? But anyway, we're just going to keep on going with our kind of simplification here of just a certain group of people being right of way. So who had right of way? All right, so as you come up to someone, or if you're about to make your zig, you're plotting your next course, you got to make sure that as you turn, you're not going to immediately cause a problem with someone who has to get out of your way. Okay, go. So say 16 out loud. Okay, stop for a moment. I want to talk to the right-of-way people. Have you ever had near collision with someone who was the lower class? Yeah, who was it? Call that person out. Okay, well, no worries. From now on, if someone who is of the groveling class who you have, so royalty has to deliberately dodge.
That sounded like a collision.
The penalty is 2 birds to the hokey pokey, okay? Everyone know the hokey pokey? Oh, come on.
You'll do it.
I'm going to show it. Yeah, you put your left arm in, you put your left arm out, you put your left arm in, and you shake it all out. You do the hokey pokey, and you turn it around. That's what it's all about. And then the right hand, the right leg, the head, okay? So if anyone has, if you had to, like, you're right away, but you had to actually stop or dodge or change or not do anything, not do what you wanted to do, that person who was the cause of the collision or the near collision has to give us 2 verses of the hokey pokey. Okay, go. Now walk slowly and deliberately. I like it.
Hunting for people.
So wait, I'll be right away too. I need you to go not so much on curves, but in straight lines.
Oh.
Instruction.
Okay,
Stop.
So I need a volunteer here. So rule 16 is kind of interesting. It's like, have you ever been in that situation in a corridor or a sidewalk where you do that weave, where you both go this way and you both go that? Okay, so you start walking towards me, and we both go this way, and we try to avoid each other, and we both go the wrong way. Oh, sorry. Right? So 16 is kind of a thing that prevents situations. So I'll have right away. You come towards me, and then you're going to start to try to move out of my way, and I'm going to go this way, and you're going to move the other way. So at some point, he's run out of time, right? And we're doing action, reaction, action, reaction. Let's do that one more time. Make your like zigs really abrupt. Okay, I'm going to follow you, and you're going to go the other way, and I'm going to follow you, and then he does that one last one to avoid me. Can I go back his way again? No, because remember 16 says you must give that other person the time to react, to get out of the way. And at that point, we're so close together that one more zig on my behalf there's no more time and space for him, right? So that is basically, just think of 16 as the thing which, so we can never come in contact, and at some point, I have to stop, right? I can't do my next move, right? Because then I would not be giving him a chance to react to that new situation, right? Does that make sense? Is everyone kind of following me? Yeah. So we're kind of like atoms, like we're like protons and neutrons. We can never come in contact. I can kind of influence him from afar, but we can never actually get close because 16 is the thing that limits my actions, that final action, okay? Got it? Right, I'm just going to refer to my notes here. Right. All right, new twist to our game. Well, let's switch up. The half that was observing, come on in, and the half that was participating, come on.
You two actually go on.
Oh, yeah.
That's hilarious.
No, we're not, this isn't sailing, this is just walking around. And we're making new rules for ourselves. No, this is the second one. Hold on, everyone. Just hold on a second. Hey, if I can have your attention, please. I'm going to add a new element to the rule, to the game here. We're not going to start with our hands up. Now you can decide when to put your hand up. Any of you now can have your hand up. You can put your hand up for 10 seconds.
Oh, there's going to be collisions for sure.
You can put your hand up for 10 seconds, and then you must put it down again. You must wait at least another 10 seconds. You can wait longer, but then you can put it back up again if you so choose. Okay, go. A couple minutes on this one. Walk really slowly and deliberately, okay?
Everybody put their hand.
I know, everyone puts their hand up.
Right away.
But they got to put their hand down eventually, right?
Someone's in irons.
Yeah, I should still be saying 16 whenever you change direction, and 14 just to yourself, right? And those who don't have your hands, actually paranoid, right?
Got it.
Hokey pokey, I want to hear one pokey. I'm sure this is going to be one.
There's some hokey pokey's here for sure.
I was saying before, don't walk in curves. I want you to walk in straight lines and then make a pretty major sweep dance, right? All right, let's hear it.
She has her hand up. So doesn't she get to the hokey pokey?
No,
No, you do.
You're the.
I was royalty. Just hang my head down.
Well, put your hand up. You need a whip. Well, that is a good point. Can you quickly put your hand up to gain a
No,
meeting
you can't.
Well, if you're waiting for that 10-second period, I think we got. Well, we'll let you off this time.
Thank you.
All right, so now there's a new rule. There's a new rule that we're going to have to say now, and that's the number 15. Okay? Whenever I put my hand up, I'm going to say 15. Just at the moment I put my hand up, okay? And 15 is a new rule that's very similar to 16. 16 said when I change direction like this, I must, at that point, think of 16. 16 said the moment I change direction, I must at least initially give the people around me the chance to react and stay out of my way. With 15, same thing. I must initially give someone the ability to get out of my way, right? It would be unreasonable for me to walk straight at someone and then do this and then bump into them, right? That would be rude, right? Exactly. Okay. She had no chance. She was completely flat-footed, but physically impossible to get out of my way, right? So, okay, that group go, and I want you to say the word 15 as you put your hand up.
What does it do again?
When you put your hand up, you guys say
15.
Oh, that's one of the risks of an interactive
15.
all contact session. Hey, pause for a bit. One of the drawbacks of one of our we found the owner. Okay. So what is 15? Someone tell me the point of the principle behind 15? As you're raising hand. So 15 is the act of acquiring right, what we call acquiring right of way. You were not a member of the royalty class, and then you just elevated yourself to it. And at least initially is kind of a little bit of a judgment call, but you must glance around and make sure that you're not going to immediately cause a problem for someone who has to scramble to get out of your way. However, what if I put my hand up right about here and started walking towards you? Did you have a chance to get out of my way? Here I come, right away. Yeah, right. So that was reasonable, right? There was a time to react and to get moving and stuff, right? What if the floor was made of like Teflon and that cartoon like the scurrying feet and stuff until she gets enough momentum? So it's really going to depend on the conditions, right? And what's kind of physically possible under the circumstances. Right, I missed a point earlier about 16 and 15 and avoiding collisions. What if we're all like waiters with trays and glasses of water? Like, again, that's kind of limiting how quickly I could change my direction and my momentum. So anyway, maybe that was a point lost. All right, so 15. Right. Certainly what is not a judgment call, though, is that if the person has enough time and, the wherewithal, I guess, to actually get out of the way, they have to be doing their damn level best to get out of my way, right? There's no, excuses, really, about it. What if someone had their back turned and, I just did this? Is there any defense? Well, maybe in our little game, yeah. In driving a car, we both have real mirrors, and we're expected to be alert for overtaking emergency vehicles and stuff like that. And in sailing, unfortunately, we're expected to have a good lookout, and not being aware of a change in the situation isn't actually defense. You're supposed to keep a good lookout as part of being a competent sailor. That you're not aware of that some boat has newly acquired right of way, and it's been 5 or 7, 8 seconds is actually, unfortunately, no defense. Right, so now we're going to introduce a new element to our game. And I have to have someone get up from a chair, or maybe this chair right here. Okay. All right, well, maybe a couple. All right.
Here you go.
Yeah, I'll take two.
Steven.
All right, James is volunteering his. All right, so this is an obstruction. As you walk around, it's pretty easy. Just don't hit your shins on it, okay? Now that group again, go and putting your hands up and 10 seconds and down again. Do we want to switch up the groups pretty soon?
No.
No.
15.
Oh.
Some of these sailboats can move on a dime.
All right, did anyone bump into the chair? I think I saw maybe one. All right, so Amelia and I, we're just going to do a little quick demonstration. So we're going to walk towards this chair, and I've got right away, and we're going to try to leave it to our right. Can I force her into this obstruction? No, I can't. Right, that would be rude. I'm walking around here. She has to avoid me and can't go anywhere close to me. And can I use my powers as the right-of-way person to steer her into this obstruction? The answer is no. And that is a rule called 19. So I want you to everyone to say, let's switch the groups up. As you're walking close to that chair, I want you to say 19, just to yourself. All right, and hands up and then hands down,
19.
10 seconds.
Groups are so small.
Oh, well, wait a minute though. You had her trapped between the chair and you, right? She was coming this way, and you put your hand
I
up.
was coming up.
No, I was already up.
It was already up,
Put
right.
it up right there.
Well, okay, so this is a really good example, right? So Rule 19 says that you must let her safely get past that chair,
Yeah.
right? Right?
I had to
So
turn like
you are right away.
Don't create a hazard.
Right.
Darren, no hazard.
Okay, so this is a really good example of what 19 says, that there can be obstructions on the race course. I mean, our race course is a nice, we pick obviously a nice big, open part of Lake Ontario, and it's chosen particularly because there are no rocks and, things like that. But it's quite possible that there are shoals or anchored barges. At the Shark Worlds, we had a distance race that took us to Ashbridges Bay and back, and that took us right around the Leslie Spit. And boat hit the is John Brunt here? John Brunt?
So you won't say which boat?
No, we're not saying anything. And in fact, actually, myself and my brother were coming into that little bit of a spit, and we had a boat right beside us, and we had to, move over a little bit to allow them room. So, so let's have Darren, let's have you, and I'm sorry, your name is Jennifer. Come on over this side. You're both going to walk towards approach that chair. You, as the royalty here, you get to decide which side you want to leave that chair on. Okay, go ahead, walk. You're walking with it. Yep. Okay, no sweat. Is that okay? Yeah, let's do it again and choose the other side.
That's not cool, Darren.
Okay, go. Right, so like a good citizen, Darren is allowing space between himself and this obstruction to allow the person who's not right away to go through. You only have to allow just enough space for one person to pass safely, no more, no less, right? But this is a case where 19 limits your godlike powers, right? Okay. You get to choose which side, and of course, there's no danger. In your first pass, you went on this side, and there's actually no danger of your partner hitting the thing because she wasn't on the inside. So we talked of someone being on the inside, right? On this side, I'm sorry, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Jennifer was on the inside. Okay, so the concept of inside will come up later. Let me just refer to my speaker notes here, see where we are. Oh, right. So there's something else in on a race course that can be an obstruction. Any ideas? Let's leave that one aside. Well, gee, we're flying along here. It's only been a half hour. Am I going too fast? We can take more time.
No, you're faster.
I'm cruising, go, yes. Actually, I had in mind another right-of-way person. So, John, when you come over here, and you're just going to be stationary, and you're going to have your right hand up. And Darren and Jennifer, you're going to do that same approach again.
But he's not moving.
He's stationary for now. So John at the moment is really no different than the chair. I'm sorry, John, but in all
I
respects,
volunteered for this. I think I'm supposed to go on this way.
it doesn't matter. You should. I'll take your pick, right?
So, okay, so I want to go this way. If I go this back and forth,
Yeah, no sweat, right?
and if we go the other way.
But if it was the other
You
side,
have to go this way, then I have to give you
right?
just
Okay.
enough, just enough.
All right. So now, John, you're going to be walking slowly in this direction towards the TV monitor with your hand up, and Darren and John, you're going to be approaching from Darren and Jennifer. You're going to be approaching from this side. If you can just pardon me, and you're going to have your hand up.
So now he's
So go. Let's see if we can time this. John's got his hand up. Oh, see, so now you can't force her to go on the other side of John. If you choose to go on one side, you have to let her do that as well. Let's do that. Let's do that again. Yeah. That's what Rule 19. Yeah. Yes. Wow. He basically actually ran you right into John.
Yeah, I did have to. I
Yeah.
had to go
All
above
right.
him.
Let's switch sides.
I didn't mean it.
You guys- so we're going to actually complicate matters a little bit. Let's just say that John is more of an Uber king over Darren, has right away, and you have right away over Jen.
So I have to give her-
Yeah, you have two hands up. Okay, go. Nice and slow. Let's see if we can. All right. So again, yes, right? Okay.
Right.
So this is actually this is going to happen again and again and again in racing. Amelia, in what circumstances? What were we reenacting here?
So if like two boats are on port and one boat is on starboard.
Precisely. This was two boats approaching on port, approaching a starboard. So two of those boats both had to give way to the starboard, and one of the two port boats had to give way to the other. If that's the case, the one port boat cannot run the other boat into the starboard obstruction, right? That would be like, a disaster. So Rule 19 is the rule that governs these situations, okay?
But not an obstruction.
I'm sorry?
Not an obstruction. Oh,
No, a right-of-way boat is an obstruction, absolutely.
right away. Well, it's a right away boat. It's not an obstruction.
I don't want to open the book, but, Brian? See you later.
Anyway.
Brian, when you make that statement, you have to have two hands up.
And a book would be helpful.
Boat racing is not an obstruction to other boats unless they are required to keep clear of her.
Which her?
Boat racing is not an obstruction. See, this is why I didn't want to get into the book and try to parse the grammar and everything. Trust me. Starboard is an obstruction. All right. Okay, this is the fun part. So we're just going to do one.
Now I get to run her into the trap.
All right, let's have two more people. Let's have, I don't know, anyone. Come on. Imtiaz? Someone? Anyone?
Come on, Doug. Get it.
All right. Your name, sir? Scott, how are you? This is Imtiaz. All right, so in addition to obstructions on a race course, we've got these things. They're sometimes made of they're made of steel, or sometimes they're made of blow-up balloon sort of inflated things. They're called marks, right? And they're usually we go around them on one side, and then we this is how we progress around our race course. Our race course is usually you go on this mark, and you go on that mark, and so there's a required side, they say, that we got to leave it on our left, and then carry on to over to HMCACR and do something over there to another mark, right? So this is so let's see. Let me just refer to my notes here. Past 19. All right. So You two are going to approach from over here or wherever you want. Organize amongst yourselves. One of you choose will be the right hand up. And I've got this. All right. I've got this magic golden ticket. Okay, like a Willy Wonka. I'm going to stand 3 steps away from 1, 2, move this over here. 1, 2, 3. As they approach, I'm going to give this magic ticket to one of them. Go ahead. Just move to me. And I'll give it to MTS. And then you're going to walk around the. Well, let's just stop here. What does this golden ticket do? If you can read that one.
This entitles the bearer to mark route.
Okay, I didn't want to write the whole dang thing. So this magic ticket gives MTS special powers, okay? It gives you the right to walk to the chair and around it. That's not very impressive, but it also gives you immunity, like in what's that stupid show, over Scott's godlike right-of-way powers. Okay, so walk around the chair. So Scott, you have to leave him unfettered access to walking to that chair and around it. All right, there we go. So that's it. So let's move on. So this is rule 18. Okay, so where was my spot? About 3, right about here. Okay, that's why I brought the tape on. All right. So this is, I'm going to call this the decision point. Okay, this is where I'm going to be as the arbitrator of the golden ticket, standing right there, and they're going to approach. And then what this does is this gives a path of immunity, okay? And it's kind of like this. It's going to be one person shoulder width wide, all right? How wide are you in chest? About like that? All right? And then I'm not going to do an arc around here. Not in a big arc and tape around that way, okay? I'll crooked. All right, so one of you put your hand up. Again? Okay. And then come to the decision point here. And try to walk this. And I'm going to give it to you, Scott. There you go. All right, so go and then around the chair. Oh, that's really interesting. What's he doing there? Now, that's really interesting. Scott, what did you just do there?
I slowed down.
You slowed. You also changed. You actually started to change direction a little bit.
Push him out.
Did you say 16 when you changed direction?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, you're not following our game here, Scott. Ever since the beginning, you're supposed to say 16 every time. So what's really interesting is that.
But, that was
Pokey.
for an property.
Okay. I mean, I've been trying to tell everyone not to do slow ones, but make it really obvious when you've done a change, right? But what's really interesting is that 15 and 16 and all these other and 14. They all still apply to you. But you can pretty much go wherever the hell you want, because you're God, right? You can go, yeah, you want to go this way.
Because I have this.
Well, because you had your hand up, actually. I gave you had the best situation. You've got, oh shoot, what was it? Dave Perry called this, no. Anyway, forgot the thought. You can go anywhere you want, because you have right away. And MTS has to stay out of your way. Subject to, you can't change so abruptly that, oh my God, he can't react in time. All right, let's do that one more time. You guys switch sides, or just make sure that someone
Do something different, guys.
let's do something. Yeah, let's do something different. You should probably have your hand up now.
Okay.
All right, come to the decision point here. And I'm going to give the golden ticket to MTS here. Now that's interesting. So, anywhere if he's inside this lane, he's even immune to Rule 14. If you guys touch, it's not his problem, right? I want you to stay alongside him though, and make sure that you're keeping him honest. So
Right in.
Okay, keep going. Yeah, a little faster now.
No.
All right, everyone got the concept here?
Yep.
This is 18. So, what's the point of 18? What's the point of 18? It's kind of to make sure there's orderly progression around the race course, right? That we because we all can kind of converge at these objects in the water, and we want to make sure there isn't utter chaos. We want sort of an orderly, like, you go first, okay, after you, and then you, and then you're right. It's, yes.
So I understand my confusion. I thought if I had the marker anywhere within a circle of 3 diameters.
Well, okay, so I've simplified it a little bit. I've always had these guys coming from a certain direction, but if they're coming from this direction, then the decision point would be here, and if they're coming from over here, the decision point would be here, and eventually we'd have a circle of those little X tapes, right?
No, I meant, I thought I could stay anywhere within a circle after I got the card. I didn't realize it only applied going directly to the marker.
Well, so if you have right away, you can go wherever you damn well please.
Okay.
Absolutely, you know, if you do not have your right hand up, but you've got this card, it gives you the ability to go around that mark, to go to the mark and around it, with immunity on the other person's right away. Okay.
Is that provided he stays within the 3 length circle? Or would you say he can go where he wants? If he drifts out of that 3
Yeah.
Does it lose his immunity?
Okay, so I'm kind of simplifying the rules, as I mentioned a little bit, because we're just trying to learn the principles of it. There's a lot of extra niceties and complexities and stuff that we could get into, but I just want to kind of stick to the basics. There are 3 elements of Rule 18. There's 2 boats. They're approaching a mark. There's a decision point, and then there's a magic golden ticket, and that's it. Okay, I just want to just distill it down to that. Yeah, you're right. There's extra stuff about what if one person goes further away than the decision point and then comes back again, and that sort of thing. But and there's actually even limitations on the right-of-way's ability to go wherever they want. But let's just stick to this now. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no cheating, no looking at the book. So, what's my next point? One more. Oh yeah. So, how is this golden ticket actually given? It's given out. It's given out to the idea of the person on the inside. If they reach this point here, and in racing there's this thing called overlap, that the person who's inside an overlap gets the golden ticket. Now, overlap doesn't really work really well with human bodies. Like, we're kind of oval. Like, I'm a little more oval lately, but like we're not these long things with significant length, and so we're just going to simplify it, right? But back in the day, like in the battle days of the 50s and 60s and stuff, the golden ticket could be handed out here. And that caused like a lot of like yelling and splinters back in the days of wood, and then crunching in the days of fiberglass and stuff. So the rule makers have decided that to again try to work out a more orderly system here, that the decision point would be way back here. How big is your typical race boat? Doug, I know yours is 30, mine's 22. Yeah, so we are talking about boat lengths, like 22, 20, 44, 66. It's a long way out. Can anyone actually judge accurately 66 feet? And remember that there's another boat here, and so there could even be another 88 feet out here, and you're actually working out who's got mark room way back here. So anyway, I hope that's clear, because I was surprised in a regatta a couple years ago. I was coming into a mark, and I started to turn around it, and I got to out here, and yeah, there's this fellow coming in here, and he said, yeah, I'm inside. Yes, you are, and then he hit me. You are actually inside, but you had to have been way back here, the person inside. Like, I went like this, and I went, and so eventually, yeah, this person was inside me, inside that turn, but I said, I'm sorry. I have immunity over 14, so I'm going to keep on going. And we bumped. It wasn't a big bump. But that was a not following Rule 18. And there was just this simple confusion about when overlap. We're deciding it back here. One more point. Oh, yeah, I mentioned that how I was coming in like this, and I was doing like what race car drivers do. They call it the apex turn, right, where you kind of come in. If I'm going really fast, that's the kind of the most efficient way to do it. Let's have 2 more volunteers. Anyone? All right, Doug. You have any race car experience?
Lots of bumper car experience.
Oh, now, hey. Yeah,
He's got
This guy's here and he's entered the three boat length, right?
They reached the decision point. We're just going to simplify to that.
Decision point,
Yeah.
right? So what is this guy gonna do? Does he have to clear out the way?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So he has
So,
to do
so
this
let's
thing
see.
around.
So, okay, so,
Going down the three boat lengths.
all right, so John, why don't you guys come on? I'm gonna give you this, and
Get out.
you have your right arm up. But yeah, I've given the golden ticket to John. He has unfettered ability to go in the best possible way, straight to that mark, and around he goes. And that means, yeah, you've got to whoa up or do something,
So
because you cannot interfere with his
I
ability to
can
come
power up.
to that mark and around.
But you
Absolutely.
don't want to do that to your shoulder.
This is true.
Is that clear?
Unproved.
Is that clear for everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the guy on the side, I mean, it's going to do the.
Possibly, yes. Possibly, yes. Okay, so back to the race car analogy. Let me set this up. All right. So, Doug, you're going to be on the inside here. I'm going to give you this golden ticket. You're going to be here with your right arm up. And Doug wants to do the wide, sweeping, don't lose any speed kind of turn, right? Whoosh, like that. Go ahead, try it. But stop. He's outside the protected path, right? You can actually say, no, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to do that. I'm going to actually just walk right along here and not let you do that, the apex turn, right? You only have the ability to go straight to that mark and do an abrupt turn right here, no matter how much speed it loses you. Right? Is that clear? Yeah. Okay, got it. All right, so let's recap. What are the three elements of rule? What rule is this? 18. What's the point to 18? It's, well, more, I've just been saying it's just to create an orderly system of getting around marks, right? Kind of to decide who's going to. So, well, let's just, the three elements for me are the decision point, there's a path of unity, and there's this mark room. So you can read the definition of mark room, but basically it's the ability to walk to that chair and around it, with immunity from the other person's right of way. And so long as everything you're doing is kind of not so much in that path, but is consistent with walking to the chair and getting around it. Not Doug's like, I'm going to drift over this way so I can do a better turn this way, right? All right, I'm just going to wet my whistle here. We're getting very close to the end, actually. Are there any questions?
If you had a current going this way, pushing both, you have to keep going back towards the current.
Well, I mean, the rule is agnostic with respect to whether there's current or not. You just have to go in the most direct way to the side of that, leaving that chair on one side, and then whoop, around you go.
Question, Steve?
Yeah.
So essentially what you're saying is that inside boat is not allowed to push another boat out off the mark. He has to keep the direct line. Once he's breached that.
Well, come on up here.
He doesn't I can't push you up.
So what if you got the golden ticket and your right hand up? So actually, I remember what it was. Dave Perry says this is called the all-you-can-eat buffet. You've got it both ways. You've got mark room and you've got.
Okay.
If
So
you
say for instance that you have, I got the golden ticket. You have right away. You're beyond me.
beyond you.
So you're up.
Oh, right. Well,
Yeah. So you got the golden ticket. And you don't. You would.
well, I would have right of way as well.
But I've got speed.
That doesn't matter.
So I can't push you up.
That doesn't matter. The decision point was here, and whatever happens afterwards,
okay.
it doesn't matter.
So basically, we both have to be here. Okay.
You get out of my way because I'm going around that mark, and if we hit, it's your fault and it's your insurance.
So same thing. I can't push you up. Stay in my tracks.
If I got right away, I'm going to do this right here, and I'm going to keep on saying I have right away. Like
So if
I didn't draw that. This path goes this way right here in an arc. It's just tough to.
And if I have right of way and the golden ticket, I can push you up.
We can actually go past the mark if you want. It's your
I can
decision.
push away.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some limitations on that. Yeah.
Every time I open a chocolate bar, I'm expecting to go to the
Yeah.
Situation
Every
where
time.
this boat has to go.
It's always like
that boat has to
7.
right away.
Okay, well, come on up, let's do that. You got the golden ticket, I've got right away.
Why would I?
We're coming into a market.
Because you're on the
I'm Leeward,
inside
you're
at
Windward.
decision point.
This is no, just a mark. We're not racing, this isn't sailing. So all tonight, we haven't talked about port or starboard or windward or leeward, because I think we've all got a pretty good idea of those ones, right? We're not. There's no. Someone said, "Well, what's the wind direction?" We're just walking around, right? But I want you to learn the racing rules of sailing by kind of like what we've done here is a model, right? Do you know what a model is? Like think of like Watson and Crick's model of DNA, or of like the macroeconomic model of the economy. Okay, so we have one conversation at a time. Hi, I'm sorry, I'm finding it really tough to talk to you guys. Thank you. So what we've done is we've kind of made a model. It doesn't fit every aspect of the sailing. It's kind of got a lot of the aspects, and a model helps you kind of learn or study or understand something. But DNA isn't made of styrofoam and pipe cleaners, but at least we can learn things about the structure of it, right? So what I've done here is abstract away some of the things in racing. But I think just to help us zone in on, focus on the principles. So let's see, where were we? Rule 18. So what have we learned today? Let's just recap. Yes?
The decision point.
Yeah.
You have a 30-foot boat or a 50-foot boat. Which boat line?
Oh, I forgot. It's the closest one. The
First
left
boat
is
in.
the closest one. Yeah.
First boat in. If it's a 23-foot boat, it's 23 times 3.
So let's just recap. What rules have we learned? 14. What does 14 stand for? Oh, you know what? I missed something. Who has to follow 14? We all do. Even actually the people with right of way with their hands up. If it's actually clear that at some point a collision is inevitable, even the person with right of way has to at some point take actions to avoid, and can be penalized actually if they haven't been shown to have taken reasonable steps to avoid a collision. We all have assets. Our boats are, they're depreciating assets, but they're assets nonetheless, right? What's the next rule we learned? 16. And 16 stands for the principle that
Beware. Giving the lower passes room to make
I think you had it right, which is that anytime. So what I've been focusing on today is not the rules about port and starboard and stuff, but we've been focusing on a little bit on the rules that just talk about the transitions, the moments of change. Those are the ones I think are the least understood. The change in direction, there's a rule for that. The change in my status as a right-of-way boat, there's a rule for that. So both of them say that initially at that moment of change, others have to be given the opportunity to react and act accordingly. What's the next rule we learned? Well, okay, we're not going in order, but 19 was the rule that said what? Sorry, 19 was the one we did first without the tape on the ground, and it said when there's something to bump into, you got to give someone else the chance to avoid that as well. You can't push someone into a collision. Right. 18 is this one, and that's kind of the more complicated one in our rule book, but I think I've tried to boil it down to some pretty basic points. There's 3 elements. There's a decision point, and there's this golden ticket, right? And one of the 2 boats has right away with the other. Okay, so for those of you following along in the book, we skipped a couple. What did we skip? No, we covered 15. 17, yeah, we didn't do 17, but it's such a goofy one that only happens once in a while. I wouldn't worry about it. No, really. It's a really obscure rule that only comes up in a really rarely. I wouldn't worry about it. There's also actually 20. We didn't talk about that. It's also a really bizarre one that it's kind of, think of it as a special case of 19, but that'll be for another night. I think that's like a more advanced topic. didn't cover 20. Covers that. Oh yeah, and then also we covered Rule 44. What was Rule 44? It's the hokey pokey rule. That if you've actually caused someone else who's right away to avoid you or done some other infraction, you must do two, not versus the hokey pokey, but you must do two 360-degree turns, two tactical trajectories in the same direction. Right.
Do you do those at the point of infraction, or can you do them later?
Whenever you want.
You must do them you must do them right away. Yeah, you must get clear of other boats around you, and you must do them at the first reasonable opportunity. Yes. All right. I think that actually draws this session to an end. So what we've done was, so again, just to kind of hammer on my analogy here, that we've drawn an analogy. Like, do you remember that scene in WPRP where Venus Flytrap teaches the young juvenile delinquent about the subatomic particles by not teaching them about subatomic particle physics, but describing things in more simple terms about like gangs and neighborhoods and stuff. So I've taught you about sailing, the rules of sailing. We haven't talked about sailing at all, right? But I think I hope, learned the rules, right? At least like we've kind of got maybe some of them drilled into our heads because we kind of repeating them over and over again. 14. We all got that. Okay. Any questions? We could. We could talk about some. We could actually jump back into. We could actually jump into sailing. I don't have a whiteboard, but we could act it out. We could talk about some common situations. Brian, you want to come up here?
Oh.
Yes, you do.
Really, what am I doing?
What's your make it the most common?
Can I just make it?
Steve, in that situation, like you're going in three.
No, leave that.
Steve.
Yeah.
What
Three
about the X?
buttons. There's no inside overlap anymore. Is that what you're saying?
Which way?
As we were going in there, we're 3 boat lengths away.
Well,
And you've got
the golden ticket is actually only given out if there's any kind of overlap at that moment.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. All right. So, Brian, you're not getting away this easily.
Coming back.
All right. This is a start line, and there's about 18 seconds to go, and Brian and I are walking this way, and Brian does not want to go across the start line before it's the time. So you're going to be standing right about here.
I'm boating.
Yeah, and we're walking this direction, and I've got my hand up, and we're slowly diverging or converging on our course, right, in this direction, right? So, no, I got my hand up. You walk that way, and I got my hand up, and well. So look, I mean, this happens time and time again. No one wants to go across the start line. Start from way up there, and just run the line. And I'm way down over here, and I'm slowly converging with you, right? So I had this happen once. The fellow said, "Well, you have to give me an opportunity." He was actually just talking to his hat. He didn't want to go across the start line.
Junior sailing.
We had been overlapped for about 45 seconds, and I had right away for all that time. And we're on a slowly converging course. And the idea that he didn't have a chance, what were you doing 38 seconds ago? You could have taken steps then, or in the following 3 seconds, or the following 3 seconds. You had ample opportunity. I'm not buying it. And I didn't change. I was going dead straight. He was going dead straight, and we're slowly converging. And when we got to about this far away, you've got to give me opportunity. You had about 60 seconds. You don't want to be going across the line. Don't be windward of me. That's all there is to it. Well, that's got nothing to do with it.
The card is still the card. But start lines, yeah. Start lines are interesting, right? It's like Lure Boat owns it. It's one of the few times you can actually go to head to win.
Yeah.
You can take them beyond, or you can take them anywhere else on the race course.
So this the person I was racing against, he was reluctant to follow the rule, mostly because he just was trying to not be across the line. But I mean, my attitude was like, Look, this is like a bishop in chess saying, "Oh, I don't really want to go along diagonal lines. I want to be able to do this." Well, no, because in part, like the chess is defined by the rules of how these pieces move. The rook does this, the knight does that, right? These rules, they don't define our behavior, but in a certain sense, they define some things are expected of us. And if you don't want to play by the rules, like you shouldn't be racing because it's part of, it's like chess is defined by the rules. This is a sport. It's got rules. And okay, I get it. You didn't want to go across that line. That's tough. It's just part of the game. Yes, Darren.
So you have another boat taking you up as well. What do you do as being the middle sandwich boat? Well, you can yell and keep yelling up at that
It's
guy.
rights on rights on rights.
Yeah, right.
That guy has rights, rights on you, you have rights on them.
Right, in our
rights
game,
on you,
yeah.
it's dominoes, right? So
But
everybody goes
from
up.
your point of view, all you can do is yell at this boat to keep going up, and then yell at these boats.
No, there's no. I don't think there should be any yelling. Like, it's
Sometimes
just.
they're all over.
So I was in a.
General rule.
I mean, there really should be no yelling. The person who is sitting here without right of way knows that they must do everything in their power to avoid the person who has right of way just to their one side.
Right.
Like I was doing some team racing. If you ever want to really blow a mental fuse, do some team racing. Holy mackerel, do the rules like ever come into play? And it's a constant. And I was kind of like the middle trimmer for a guy, and I would say you must avoid boat 6. We must avoid. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, right? If I'm on this line and there's someone below me, yeah, I'm gonna try to stay below the line and also walk between that fine line of skill and shrewdness. But I mean, at some point, you must avoid. Right? Everyone should know that. No, being what do they call it? False self-conscious, no false consciousness. There's no tricking yourself into believing that you're okay to do this. Sorry, I'm going on philosophically. Any other common situations? Yes.
Steve, just a quick question. So you're the outside boat.